Here are 3 cats sleeping in a heart shape. Enjoy. What is something that has aged well? The word cool. One of the few slang terms that survived for decades. It's because it's so simple and not over the top. In my life it never felt like slang, or you were trying too hard when you use it. Now think about okay and how it evolved from all correct. Okay is cool's grandfather that fought in the trenches but never talks about it. Dude. And yet somehow not cool dude. Denim in general. Well boiled. From under a bridge. Lego. My parents gave my fiancé-old Lego. We joke that it's my dowry. He's gotten hours of endless joy out of those boxes of Lego. Man, my mom threw all that shut away when I moved out of the house after high school. All my Lego, all my Transformers, all my Duck and He-Man figures, all my G.I. Joes, just decided to remodel on a whim and purged it all. I was duck and gutted then and still am now. Even outside of the memories surrounding that shut is worth a good deal today. Like I had virtually the entire Lego pirate collection, a fair amount of the city stuff, the big yellow Technic plane with working flaps and rudders, all in the garbage. Even music I hated when it was new now sounds good because of nostalgia. I've almost reached the point of liking that I like girls that wear a Berkramby and Fitch song from 20 years ago. And now it's stuck in my head again. Old Nintendo games. The speedrun community alone speaks for this. It's crazy how much hype there still is for 20-30-year-old single player games. Absolutely. Same with Super Nintendo games. Super Nintendo games have really good soundtracks for the most part too, and I don't know why. They're mostly full of bangers. My 84-year-old mother who still walks 3 miles a day and has all her wits about her. Life goals. Seriously. My 97-year-old grandmother acts like a 79-year-old. She still has all of her faculties, mental, physical, etc. Still lives alone. Still drives better than most other people. Doesn't have any health issues. Her father lived to be 105 and was perfectly healthy until 2 weeks before he died. Definite life goal. Tetris. Still addictive. I sometimes get hallucinations of falling pieces after playing. That's the Tetris effect, not the game lol. OHH, so that's what it's called. I got this a few times after playing a game all day. It was a 2D fighting game and I was hallucinating combos and stuff when trying to fall asleep. Thought I was going crazy lol. 2019. Close your eyes. The year is 2016. The Chainsmokers debut their hit single Close are playing on someone's phone in a park on a sunny summer day. That park is filled with 100 people of every age and ethnicity, playing Pokemon Go, and looking anxiously for a Lapras fabled to have been seen in the area. In the distance someone is showing their friend a meme of Trump making another gaffe. Mayo. Look at this clown. He should just drop out already, Christ. It's embarrassing. Now wake up. Put on your N95 rated mask, listen to President Donald Trump's COVID-19 announcement, and get to work. The toilet paper is finally arriving in the store for restocking, and if you aren't quick enough you'll get stabbed for it or worse. Coughed on. The earlier episodes of The Simpsons. Classic Simpsons are masterpieces when it comes to comedy, and even some gut-wrenching episodes as well. Bart Gets an F was heartbreaking. I did my best, and I still failed gets me every time. The Twilight Zone. The series premiered in 1959, and so many of the episodes still hold up today because of its brilliant writing. Rod Serling was so far ahead of his time. Rod Serling could be darkly profound and sweetly sentimental at the same time, an almost gothic quality. He was also squarely in the shut as an army paratrooper in the Pacific Theater. His last unit had a 50% casualty rate, no doubt influencing his writing. Jurassic Park. I still think the visuals look great in that movie, even if it were to be released today. I prefer the animatronics in JP to all the CGI Chris Pratt movies. Even though they move more fluidly blah blah blah, my brain still knows they are not literally there. It knows the animatronics are literally there in that first movie, and likes that better. Reminds me of the old Star Wars. I'm the same way. Lord of the Rings also, especially Fellowship. They used scale doubles, miniatures, forced perspective etc. Those movies are still incredible, while the Hobbit trilogy was a shut fest. Incredibly, some very old photography. Sure, they might be now in digital and W.E, but the composition, attention to detail, there's just so much. Example, this alcohol pouring during Prohibition. Film in general, and for movies 70mm. Some of the classic movies from the 50s onward were shot on 70mm and they look phenomenal today. 2001, Ben-Hur, Lawrence of Arabia are all stunningly beautiful. 70mm is so large that it's the equivalent of 18K if converted to digital. Aliens 1986. The Alien series is a lot like the Terminator series, there's only 2 of them. I was enjoying the latest Terminator, but then at one point I realized it's a complete rehash of T2, but simpler. Paul Rudd, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, Kate Beckinsale, Jennifer Aniston. I duck each and every one. Steve Carell and Jeff Goldblum. I think both look better now. Calvin and Hobbes. My 9-year-old recently discovered one of my old C&H collections. He has gotten every book the library has and just reads them over and over again. It's great when your kid loves something just as much as you did at their age. Arabic numerals, or what most people call numbers. Since around 500 AD, it's been 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and the entire world uses them. Even cultures without the Latin alphabet use them. Always interesting seeing them used in Asian languages writing, as they stand out seeming Western, but they were in fact developed in Asia by Hindu mathematicians and spread throughout Middle East where they became popular, hence Arabic numerals. I think they only seem Western, because we actually recognize and understand them, in contrast to the moon runes. Megamind. The villain being a nice guy and Soul was absolutely ahead of its time, and I think, now that we are farther away from Will Ferrell we can appreciate his role more, now that it's not something oversaturated. The animation still looks amazing, and the music selection feels very reminiscent of both Shrek and Guardians of the Galaxy. The comedy doesn't feel dated at all, and very timeless. You could watch multiple times, and learn something new every time, as I have. A lot. It's starting to get a lot more love now, which is great, because now I can talk about it with other people and not look batshit crazy. Seasons 1, 2, 3 of SpongeBob. Classics to this day. Once upon a time there was an ugly barnacle, he was so ugly that everyone died. The end. That didn't help at all. Roger Federer, still a top 10 player at 38. 90s Japanese cars, especially if they have pop-up headlights. Pop up and down headlights. Astronomer here. There is a star about 200 light years away from us called the Methuselah star, which appears to be about as old as the universe itself. Specifically, the universe is thought to be about 13.8 billion years old, and the star is, based on its composition, estimated to be 14.46 plus minus 0.8 billion years old. So presumably if you are on the side of that minus, it's younger than the age of the universe, but still, the fact that it's been shining for a good 13 plus billion years is astounding. For reference, our sun has been burning for about 4.5 billion years, and has about 5 billion more to go, so this star has already lasted longer than our sun ever will. Avatar: The Last Airbender. 15 years later and it still remains one of my top rated shows. It was such a well developed show, and the lore was outstanding. Anything scored by John Williams. He makes scenes feel so alive and meaningful. Did you know that the makers of Home Alone reached out to him 100% on a whim, expecting that he was way out of their league, and he decided to score Home Alone, which 100% changed the feel of it. They had written/acted out a lot of the movie like old Roadrunner cartoons, which it's the music that gives the movie so much of the emotional feel. Weird Al. Celebrity after celebrity comes out with drug problems, abuse allegations, friends with Weinstein, and there's Weird Al singing a coronavirus polka. Never forget his Oscar-winning classic. Spoiler alert, he grabs his own Oscar at the beginning of the movie, UHF. A timeless classic indeed. Me. 70 on 4th of April 2020. Down 140 pounds from 300. Walk 30 miles a week. Perfect EKG. Perfect blood work. Perfect blood pressure. Happier than I have ever been. Betty White. Nodding in appreciation as my comment to the question is, The Golden Girls. It has aged better than Sex and the City. Art Nouveau. From the architecture, the jewelry, to the fashion. I find it all incredibly aesthetic. Batman, the animated series. The series that invented Harley Quinn. I find that a few classic rock bands are still very popular with young people today. Bands such as the Beatles, Queen, Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones, ACN/DC, Metallica, Guns N' Roses and Nirvana especially are the most popular amongst my peers. Definitely Rick rolling. It has been a thing for about a decade and is one of the most popular memes and ways to troll on the internet. My 13-year-old son has just discovered Rick rolling. He thinks it's hilarious. His friends think he's not quite right. The movie Young Frankenstein. It's hilarious and isn't full of gags that are super offensive today. Movies like Airplane and Blazing Saddles are considered comedy classics, but they couldn't possibly be made today. Young Frankenstein absolutely could if there was a competent enough director and writing team around.